Dear Black people, we need to talk. I'm not here to preach or judge, but we've got some real issues to address about voting and our power as a community. This message comes straight from the heart because I care about us and our future. If you're watching this, I want you to stick with me whether you voted or not, because this conversation is about all of us. Let's start with the facts. Our ancestors fought and died for the right to vote. And I'm not just throwing words around. This is real. Back in the day, Black folks faced crazy challenges just to cast a ballot. They had to deal with stuff like literacy tests, poll taxes, and straight-up violence. Imagine risking your life just to have your voice heard. People like Fannie Lou Hamer got beaten and jailed just for registering Black people to vote. John Lewis literally had his skull cracked on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, all so we could have the right to vote. Think about that. These people weren't just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for us. And it wasn't just the physical violence. We were also targeted by laws designed to keep us powerless. After slavery was abolished, the Black Codes were created. These laws were basically designed to control and oppress Black people. They made it nearly impossible for us to own land, get fair wages, or even move freely without being harassed. And when it came to voting, they pulled every trick in the book to shut us out. Black codes were the blueprint for Jim Crow laws, which made segregation and voter suppression even worse. It was all about keeping us in a system where we had no voice and no power. These laws weren't just words on paper, they affected real lives, keeping generations of Black people trapped in a cycle of poverty and silence. But here's the thing, even in the face of all that, our people never gave up. They kept fighting, marching, and organizing until change started to happen. In 1965, the Voting Rights Act was passed. That law was supposed to make sure our rights were protected. But guess what? The fight didn't stop there. Even now, voter suppression is still a thing. They just find new ways to do it, like closing polling places in Black neighborhoods or making voting rules harder to understand. So when we think about not voting, we have to remember the blood, sweat, and tears that went into making it even possible for us to step into that voting booth. Now let's take a moment to shout out the Black folks who did vote. Y'all showed up, and it mattered. In recent elections, Black voters have made a huge difference. States like Georgia and Michigan flipped because of us. And let's not forget about Stacey Abrams and all the work she did to get people registered and ready to vote in Georgia. When we vote, things change. Policies get passed, leaders we trust get elected, and our voices are heard. It's a powerful feeling knowing that your vote helped shape history. For those who voted, I see you. Keep that energy. We need you to keep showing up because your voice matters. But let's be real. There's still a lot of work to do. It's not enough for just a part of us to vote. We need everyone to participate if we want to see real change. Now let's talk about the other side, those who didn't vote. Look, I get it. Some of you might feel like voting doesn't matter, like the system is broken, or like your one vote won't change anything. But let me ask you this. If you didn't vote, how can you expect anything to get better? How can you complain about the laws, the leaders, or the situations we're in if you didn't even take the first step to change it? I'm not saying this to guilt trip anyone, but we have to keep it real. Not voting means you're giving up your power. And trust me, other groups are voting. They're making sure their voices are heard and their interests are represented. Meanwhile, if we sit back and do nothing, we're just letting them decide our future for us. And let's not forget voter suppression. Some of us didn't vote because it was made harder to do so. Long lines, closed polling places, and confusing rules are all part of the game to silence us. But we can't let them win. If they're working this hard to stop us, it's because they know how powerful we are when we show up. Here's the thing. Voting isn't just about choosing a president every 4 years. It's about local elections, too. These are the elections that decide who runs our schools, our police departments, and our city budgets. These are the people making decisions that affect our day-to-day lives. When we don't vote, we lose our chance to hold these people accountable. How are we supposed to demand better schools, safer neighborhoods, or fairer laws if we don't even show up to vote for the people in charge of those things? And let's talk about the big picture. At the national level, voting decides who makes the laws about healthcare, wages, and civil rights. It's not just about politics, it's about survival. So again, I ask, how can we expect change if we don't vote? And how can we complain about what happens if we didn't even try to stop it? So here's what we need to do. First, if you didn't vote in the last election, make a promise to yourself right now that you will vote next time. Start by registering to vote. It's easier than you think, and there are tons of resources out there to help you. Second, Talk to your friends and family about voting. Sometimes all it takes is one conversation to inspire someone to take action. Be that person who starts the conversation. And finally, stay informed. Pay attention to what's happening in your community and in the world. Know who's running for office and what they stand for. That way, when it's time to vote, you'll be ready to make choices that benefit us as a community. That's exactly why I include so many Congress hearings on my channel, to make sure you know what's really going on in the world. Watching these hearings lets you see the decisions being made and who's making them. It's a way to stay up to date and informed so that when the time comes, you can vote with confidence and power. We can't afford to sit back and let other people make decisions for us. This is our future, our communities, and our families. We have to take responsibility and make our voices heard. Dear Black people, we are stronger than we realize. Our ancestors showed us the way, and now it's on us to carry that torch forward. Voting is our power, our voice, and our right. Let's not let it go to waste. To those who voted, thank you for showing up. To those who didn't, let's do better next time. Because when we all show up, there's nothing we can't accomplish. Thank you for watching, and remember to stay woke. See you in the next one.